Watch as this pile of wood becomes a crate without the need of any extra hardware or anything. To learn how we made it and to make your own, stay tuned. Greetings adventurers and welcome to Skill Tree, where we learn how to do just about everything. So the Brandy Wine Festival is coming up quickly, which is the Middle Earth LARP. You can learn more about it here, but it's absolutely awesome. But I'm making a bunch of props and set dressing for it, and I have an interesting challenge given to me. Namely that we need a whole bunch of wooden crates, but we have to ship them to Kentucky where it's being held. So in order to do that, we have to figure out a way to pack them as flat as can be, but still have them strong enough to be able to be played with during the game, to last weather, all that kind of stuff. And I thought that was a cool challenge for an episode. So that's what we're gonna be doing here today. Figuring out a way to make a crate that can pack up flat, but can easily go together and be a strong, functional piece of hardware. So without much further ado, let's just jump right into it and level up this skill. I'm gonna level with you here. I didn't know how I was gonna go about doing this. I was kind of figuring it out on the fly, and as such, I didn't want to spend the money on wood in case I kind of screwed it up or whatever. Luckily, always just behind my office here, there is just this pile of pallets. It's not the same pile of pallets. That pile changes every week. They get thrown out, and then the store next to me just piles up new ones to be thrown out. And within that pile of pallets is this beautiful, just kind of raw pine one. So seeing opportunity in hand, I just kind of trucked my little wagon on over and disassembled as much wood as I thought I would probably need for this particular project here. Now, obviously, if you're gonna do this project, I've figured out kind of the legwork for you, so you can just go buy wood if you want, or if you like to recycle, use pallet wood. Just always be careful with pallet wood because you never know the kind of wood it is, what's been on it in the past. Use it with a little grain of salt here. Another kind of downside to pallet wood is it's full of nails. You gotta go ahead and kind of pop those suckers out any way you can. They tend to come out pretty easily, but there's just a lot of extra work in preparing it. And once the wood was prepped, it was time to actually figure out what I was gonna do. The way I'm planning on doing this is, I can redo that take now. I don't know what's been going on lately, but I feel like I've been getting so many scam messages, drives me crazy. Luckily, I've just started with today's sponsor, Incogni. Want to do something scary? Google your own name in your town. Odds are you're gonna see a weirdly complete profile of yourself pop up. That's already, for anybody, a super uncomfortable thing. But my job is here on the internet. It's wildly uncomfortable. All of it is the work of data brokers that are quietly collecting and selling off your information from all the random stuff we all do online all the time. But that's extra scary because that's the raw material for AI scams, doxing, data theft, even stalking, which is super scary. Incogni helps get that data taken down for you. It does this by sending opt-out requests to data brokers and people search sites. It handles that back and forth between them and keeps going over time so your data doesn't claw its way back into the interwebs. It's really cool / terrifying to watch it happen across its dashboard, knowing that your information wasn't that many places. Anyways, the first data removal service independently verified by Deloitte, and it has a 30-day money-back guarantee. And right now, if you use the link in the description below and use my code SKILLTREE, you get 60% off for an annual plan. Definitely check that out and give Incogni a try because the bad guys can't hurt you if they can't find you. Anyways, without any more interruptions, the way I was planning on doing this is kind of fingering those joints together, staggering the boards so they fit into each other like puzzle pieces, and then using a pin of some sort to hold those corners together. It's gonna make more sense as we go, but the first thing I had to do in order to make this particular plan work is make sure all of my boards were the same width. Using the smallest board as my guide, just trimming off a little bit of it, and then running all the rest of the boards on through so I knew they'd all be the same width. Now you're gonna see with the way I'm doing this, if you don't have a table saw or whatever, what I would do is just kind of bundle them up so that the most similar widths are together. And then when you're puzzle piecing things together, you just need to make sure that you match up those similar widths so that things will sit cleanly. You'll see what I mean shortly, but yeah, just that's how I'd go about it if I didn't have a table saw. Still totally doable, and again, if you're just buying the wood, you're probably gonna get pretty similar sizes anyway, so it won't matter. As another bit of prep, because I didn't want there to just be random holes where the nails used to live, I put these into my table saw and cut away the nail holes that were closest to the ends of the board. Then using one sample as my guide, I just locked the gate of my chop saw so that I can use it as a jig to just kind of bust out the rest of them really quickly. This gives me this uniform pile of wood that was free, which I love. It caused me a little extra work, but free is great. But safety concerns again, because I could feel people putting it in the comment section, because it is pallet wood, I made sure that I was masked up, there was good ventilation, I had the vacuum running to collect any dust, because again, you don't know what the wood is treated with or what has been spilled on it or anything like that. So yeah, through line, just be careful with the wood you're using, that's all. Okay, so to accomplish this kind of like finger joint corners that I'm going for, I go ahead and stagger every other board so it's kind of sticking out like so. Then I just mark those ends that are sticking out so I know which ones I'm gonna have to drill through later on. Note, I take special care to mark which one of those is gonna be on the bottom. You'll see why in a little bit, but just you wanna know which one's gonna be on the bottom here. And I just continue to do this the same exact way for what's gonna end up being 4 walls worth, right? Because we're making a box. Okay, so as I said, as these things kind of attach together like puzzle pieces, I'm gonna try to use a pin of some sort to hold them together. That necessitates, though, that there is a hole that goes through all of them, not only goes through all of them, but matches up perfectly, right? Like they can't be off at all because that pin has to go through. So in order to make this happen, I first line up a board right at the end of one of the other ones and use that to mark a line. That's gonna give me a square on the end that's the exact width of those boards. I can then use my ruler to kind of attach those corners together, and where the center of that X is exactly the center of like the board end where I need a hole to go through. So long as I have that perfect on every single board, that same spot, it should overlap exactly and have a good little tunnel going through everything. For this, I will use a drill press, but I understand not everybody has a drill press. So here's a quick little way you can accomplish a straight hole through something like this without one. All you gotta do is take 2 pieces of wood and stagger them to form this little 90-degree angle here. Then you simply put that 90-degree angle over where you want the hole to be, line up your drill bit, and then just make sure that drill bit is touching both of those walls the whole way down. Once most of the way through, that hole's just gonna act as a guide to keep me straight anyways, and I can finish my drill. If this is the trick you decide to use for all of these, I would recommend like gluing and screwing your template together there so you're not holding it and just trying to keep everything straight. It's a super easy workaround. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, you can actually make some pretty straight holes. But I do have a drill press, so I just go ahead and line this up with where the bit'll come down, use some wood to make a jig so it's gonna be consistent, and then just get to drilling. This makes it dead easy, although the drill bit doesn't go all the way through for me, so I have to go ahead and turn these around to finish the hole. But because I have the jig in place, it all just lines up, so it's perfect. Now, remember how we marked off what would be those bottom-most boards, though? Those ones I don't go all the way through. I actually leave a little bit of the bottom there. I then switch out the drill bit for a smaller one and use that to complete the hole on the other side. So now, as you can see, we have a small hole on one side and a larger hole on the other one. The thought with this is, once we have our pin in place, right, we won't be able to get it back unless we leave it hanging out of the top. This little hole is going to make it so we can turn it upside down, shove something in there, and knock that pin out so we can actually remove it. A little bit of rare forethought on my part. Now at the beginning, I said this thing goes together and comes apart without using any hardware. And I mean that. You won't need any screws or anything to actually put this thing together. But for the initial construction of the walls, I do want to use some nails. I could just use glue, but I'm going to use some nails and some slats to make sure all the boards stay in place together. So in order to facilitate this, I went ahead and ripped some more wood, some about 1 1/4 inches wide, and then also some about 3/4 wide. I'm gonna be honest with you, the actual width of them don't matter, they're just kind of supports, so whatever looks the best to you. Now the thinnest of them is actually gonna be used to hold a floor of some sort in place, right? Because a crate is useless if it doesn't have a bottom, then it's just a bunch of walls, and what are we doing here? And my thought is the best way to hold this kind of bottom in place is to make little rails for it to sit on top of. So just to make sure everything lays out correctly, I just go ahead and put that piece of wood right against the 1/2 inch ply that I'm gonna be using for my floor so I can get a measurement of how kind of tall that stands. Then measuring up from the very bottom of the crate walls, I use that measurement to give myself a line. Now I know exactly how much space the little guide and the floor takes up so I can lay everything else out accurately. I also give myself a space at either end of these boards here, the width of the boards, so that when they nest together, that little slat that the floor is gonna be sitting in doesn't get in my way. Using this as my guide, I cut that little floor rail to size, glue it up, and then pre-drill it so that it doesn't split when I drive some nails into it. This aligned right with the bottom edge of my bottommost slat here. Just gives me a nice rail to put the floor on top of. All right, so now that we have kind of where the floor is gonna sit figured out, it's time to actually line up those walls so that we can like make sure everything is gonna line up correctly. In order to do that, I just use these cutoffs here just to make sure the spacing on all those little overhangs are perfect. By wedging them between boards, it just makes sure everything's nice and lined up. Now, in order to hold those walls together, I'm gonna employ little slats going in the opposite direction. That's gonna provide us with the support and make sure nothing's moving around on us. Though if you didn't want to do this, I suppose you could just kind of glue the edges and clamp them together, but this is how I'm doing it, so, you know, do whatever you want. I simply cut 2 of these to size, glued them up, pre-drilled them, and again used some nails to hold them in place while the glue dries. And bam! It's a little wall that holds together perfectly with everything spaced out how I need it. It's looking great. I just follow suit for the next 3 walls. The only thing to make sure of is those slats that I have kind of holding the sides together there. Leave enough space from that rail where the floor is gonna sit on so that a floor can actually slide into it, right? That's that line we drew at the bottom. Just line those up with that line and you should be good. But this is the moment of truth. I go ahead and puzzle this corner together like so, which already looks cool. And then I use this 1/4-inch dowel here, sending it through all of the holes, and huzzah, they match up. I was so worried about them not matching up, but like it fits perfectly. Then I just kind of sawed the top even to keep it looking nice and clean. Now everything can kind of fit together and like you're not gonna notice that too much on the top. It's gonna look like a really clean crate. I of course follow suit doing this with all the rest of the corners, puzzle piecing them all together, adding in my dowels, and then cutting them flush. And check out this square of wood I've made. It's still wobbly because it doesn't have a floor, but like that's really cool. Now, in order to make the floor fit perfectly, I simply kind of turn the box over onto my plywood and just trace the inside dimension of it. Though to slide it in, I need to take one of the walls off. And this is where we get to test out the other thing we made, which is that smaller hole in the bottom. You can see just by kind of shoving a nail in there, it pops out on the other side and I can easily just pull them off. This means in just a few seconds, I can totally remove the walls as needed. But yeah, with that wall removed, I just slide the floor into place, replace the wall, and check this out. It is a crate. Not only is it a crate, it is like a super solid crate. I think that is awesome. It's super easy to take apart. It's easy to put back together. It's really solid. Though right now it is hard to carry. So I just went ahead and drilled some holes about 1 inch wide so that I can fish this rope through and knot them right at the proper height so that your knuckles aren't rubbing into the top of the crate here. I also decided it was really kind of bland looking, so I went through with a torch to just kind of really burn in some of that grain and make it look a little more interesting. And again, because it is a pallet crate, I made sure there was good ventilation, I had a mask, I was very, very safe about it, but don't burn random wood. Use safety, be safe. But check this friggin' thing out, this is so cool. And I already have some ideas of like different ways to do it, right? Like maybe I remove every other slat to make it a little bit lighter and it'll be one of those crates where you can kind of see through the contents or whatever. Using half the amount of wood, making it a little lighter. We can change the sizes. I'm gonna make a bunch of various sizes. I gotta bust out like 50 of these crates. So like, I'm gonna have time to play with it. But what do you think? Was this something you would use on your adventures out there? Do you think that this would solve the problem of packing a whole bunch of these type of things for you if you want to bring them to events? Let me know if you think this is useful or if you do it a different way down in the comment section below. Now, if you liked this episode or what we do here, just give me some of that like it love and don't forget to subscribe so you know when I release new content. Oh, also, if you like what we do here, we have a brand new YouTube membership. You can check that out right below this video, I believe. In the meantime, though, keep leveling up, you. You made it to the end screen. YouTube loves it when you do that, and it's a fantastic way to support this channel. Another fantastic way to support this channel is by joining these people's noble ranks. These are our Patreon members, and we can't do any of this without them. Special shout out to our newest high-tier Patreon members, Cameron Massey. Also our newest skill primate level members here on YouTube, Rockin' R's Woodshop, what's going on Rockin' R, Eli Brassard, and Aaron Leonard. And as always, a massive thank you to our Grandmaster tier Patreon members, Familiar T and Froggy. It is amazing that you support us in this way, and it makes a giant difference here on the channel. I'm not just getting free pallet wood because I'm cheap. I get free pallet wood because it's expensive to do all the things I do, and you all helping us out is an amazing, amazing relief for us. If you like what we do here and want to support us in that way, consider joining our Patreon, link in the description below. Otherwise, you can check out some of these videos, YouTube things you'd like, and that helps out a lot too. All right, as I said, I have like 50 of these things to make, so I better hop too because the Brand New Wine Festival is happening soon. Wish me luck.